Today my guest is Mike O'Dell. Mike is currently running his own consultancy, Profitry. It's a consultancy that helps SMEs to effectively manage the interface between people and process. This comes after a long, excuse me Mike, a long career, a successful career in HR roles in some leading brands, O2, World Remit, William Hill, Colt. Mike's had a very successful career, and that's why we want to pick his brains today. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, John.
You've done the GC Index, thank you for that, and you have a very strong playmaker profile, and our task in this video clip is to understand the skills that you've learned and acquired down the years that has underpinned your success in the corporate world as a playmaker. Give us a view of what you see as the essence of the playmaker. What's their core, if you like?
There's three or four things I think that you break down, or I'd break down as being key for that. I think the first one is to be clear about, when you're working with a team or with a group of people, be clear about what it is you're trying to achieve. And that may sound a bit more strategy implementary, but actually is crucial if you're going to be an effective playmaker, because you're all working as a group of people to get something done. Understand what everybody can contribute to whatever our goal or goals are, and I do that by understanding, asking questions, understand what they want to get out of things, what they want to do, what they want to achieve, how they want to achieve it, and then you understand the component members of the team and what their motivations are, and then by letting them achieve those things in pursuit of whatever the outcome is, they feel way better about it and want to do it over and over and over. So that's more powerful, as I found, as a combination, rather than forcing people to do things they're not comfortable with. I also think it's absolutely critical to give people the space and the autonomy and the responsibility and the ownership to get their parts of the task done, and to make sure then that we regularly touch base as a group to share information, to understand how we're progressing, share frustrations, share blockages so we can jointly overcome them, and basically work then as a collaborative team. So I think that's key. And then the final bit, also knowing how to stimulate action. Now, some would say a playmaker operates through consensus, and I think to a degree largely I do. But I also think there is a place for conflict. I quite enjoy a bit of conflict, but I'd only use that where it needs to be used. And that's really to challenge people or the group to understand what needs to get done, and to make sure that we are pushing ourselves as hard as we can do to get the best possible outcome. But what I've learned over time is that to get something done, you always get it done better if it's a collective. If it's a set of brains, there's a set of energies. It's a different way of looking at things.
There's a huge element of trust in this, Mike. Just from that comment of giving people the freedom to perform, freedom to shine, there is a degree of risk in there.
There's both of those.
How do you learn that trust bit, or have I got this wrong? Is that not what it's about? What?
No, I mean it's definitely, there's risk, and so you're dumb to take a risk if you haven't done some risk assessment.
Yes.
Right? I'm not talking about in the strictest sense of auditing, but you build trust by knowing people. So I mean, so that's by getting to know them, understanding them, and then they can prove themselves by having delivered on something.
Got it. So part of that relationship building, the skill in there, is just taking a view of what people might be capable of, not capable of. Knowing what to expect of folk helps you to manage that risk. God, that takes some acquiring, I should imagine.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm cracking on a bit. So I mean, it's taken me a few years to get to that point. But yeah, I mean, so that's right. But and it is massively rewarding to see people develop actually. So as you give them, you've got the trust in place.
Yeah.
People don't let you down because they don't deliberately do something bad usually.
Yes.
And And also, it's great when you can work with people who've got some humility, who, if they do make a mistake or they have taken it down the wrong pathway, can recognise it and then they correct it, and then they've learned and they're bigger and better themselves for the next time around.
Yes. Through your experience, you've acquired this philosophy that, collective group is more powerful than people seeking their own ends and their own agendas.
Yeah.
Those skills that you've talked about, can you bring them to life for us with a story?
So when I was working at Colt Technology Services a few years back, my remit was across the whole of Europe and also in India as well. So the 13 countries in Europe thereabouts plus India, each of which culturally very, very different. And what we were working on was improving the engagement index scores for our part of the organisation. So in using my playmaking skills there, that was me making a call to arms, giving people a reason to take part and helping to understand that they could be part of changing something quite significant, and they'd get some personal satisfaction from doing that. And also that it was going to be better for the company because there's a lot of evidence that suggests that higher engagement scores drive better performance from people in the company. So that was information share and getting people to volunteer for things. I mean, a pressed up man or woman rarely does a good job.
Yes, that is a playmaker philosophy, isn't it? Very much.
Yeah.
Mike, some great stories. Thank you for sharing those with us. I think we've learned a lot about what it means to be a playmaker, so thank you very much.
My pleasure, thank you.